main function of this film is to inform people the bad working of the assumptions that all medicines used to believe that people cure their illnesses, and how pharmacological enterprises abuse and deceive consumers, and pharmacology used as the same power of their profits to buy and reward those corrupt officials who allow his misdeeds. I also presented the history of an invention for people that quickly and efficiently can heal their health problems. They are used as backward scenes from Guadalajara City, one of the most beautiful cities in the world, with a stunning climate with smiley and friendly people. The content of this movie is the opinion collected from 3,000 people in the association Back to Nature. They are sick and receive damage from the medical and pharmacological community. In this film, people from 19 to 87 years appear. Every day there are more artificial and synthetic products that do not make the impact that the population expects. Our body rejects these substances for being toxic and apart from the most elementary laws of physics and chemistry of our bodies. For more than 60 years, these people began with the production of drugs away from nature. This has been such a big business of pharmacology with catastrophic results for health. The medicines produced by pharmaceutical laboratories aren't very effective solving diseases. They do not cure simple diseases unless the complicated ones. The allopathic medicine is not helping people, but it causes more diseases, so they reduce their high life quality. Overdoses cause depression and many other important issues, including liver poisoning. At Virginia Tech, where 32 people were killed, the real guilty is the antidepressant prescribed to the Korean culture, and this is one issue that no one has talked about. There have been more deaths from allopathic medicines than deaths from the wars. Citizens Watch is an organization headed by Sidney Wolf, US, and it informs us that there are more than 1,500 drugs that cause damage and even death. This distinguished person is often invited to speak in front of the Congress, and his opinion is considered very valuable. He classifies USA in the 37th place in health services, as well as Mexico in 61st place. France is in the first place. China is in 144th place, India in 112th, and the last one in the list is Myanmar in the place number 190th. In China, the chairman of the Drug Control and Drug FDA was found guilty of corruption for the benefit he gave to the pharmacology industry and was tried and sentenced to death. In Mexico and USA, any officer of health hasn't been in jail a single day, unless sentenced by corrupt acts against people's health. Pharmaceutical laboratories are contributing with significant money quantities, bribing officials of health and counselors. For this reason, the assumptions medicines for health are extremely expensive and unattainable for the middle classes and are useless at the end. In the US, there are more than 50 million people without insurance. This number increases every day. Many people have partial insurance, which means that virtually no one is insured. We all owe this to pharmacology and corrupt officials who agree with dirty money. Governments around the world are unable to support the costs involving social security, all because the medicines don't cure and are too expensive. Doctors cannot cure for the same reason that medicines are ineffective and surgeries are obsolete since they do not solve health problems. but it solves the financial or the guilt pharmacological enterprises and doctors. Current medications are extremely expensive imported from China but remain as expensive as before. The pharmacological industry treats us like laboratory mice for its experiments. The medical community treats the human body like a robot and not as the most extraordinary machine in the universe. Of all the objects in the universe, the brain is the most extraordinary and weighs 3 pounds. With all the money that the pharmacological enterprises have been expending during 60 years, they can build a Taj Mahal palace for each one of the Mexican and the United States presidents. And with all the money they have been archiving, they can do the same thing, but with all the ex-presidents of the American continent. I ask to all the governments around the world and at all levels not to allow the Commonwealth pharmaceutical and medical do damage to people. We can get sick at any time and we need something that really helps us. In October 2005, I sent a letter to President Bush that I personally handed in the U.S. consulate in Guadalajara, saying that I have the solution for the pandemic that is currently in action. I told him of my magnetic chairs that could solve and prevent this catastrophe. Each chair can attend 144 people per day. I sent a similar letter to all governments of the world where I clarified that there would be no allopathic solution nor a vaccine. Provide a vaccine to be obsolete as we bring the H5N1 virus since September 2006 and is doing its diagnosis and preparation pandemic. At this moment, many people have not received notice of the avian flu pandemic or a flu pandemic that this plague around the world, including over 100,000 deaths from cancer alone so far this year in Mexican territory. The H5N1, the virus of the pandemic influenza or bird flu, will kill people mainly from lung problems. In the U.S. Army, anthrax was a mandatory vaccine for all the soldiers. It was ordered by Mr. Rumsfeld, and the damage caused was very notorious. Some critics attribute this fact to the poor performance of the U.S. military in the Iraq War. Again, money is more important than health. For more than 60 years, the medicines that doctors prescribed were drawn from natural products and were effective and cheap. When penicillin appeared, the medical community was too happy and believed they had discovered a panacea. The human body learned to nutrify since it was a product made of the decomposition of organic mushrooms and then made synthetic, and this is what caused that attempt to nullify our body.